Okay, so if you cast your mind back to ancient China, say the tumultuous 5th century BCE, the whole intellectual landscape is just dominated by this one massive shadow.
Confucius.
Confucius, exactly. His philosophy was, it was everything. Morality, social hierarchy, ritual.
It was the operating system of the state for centuries. But, for every established rule, for every piece of polite society, there's always a radical exception.
And that is exactly where we are going today.
We're diving into that exception, Mozi, or Modi. A hugely important figure, a great scholar, a social ethicist, but, and this is the crucial part, he was one of the most intellectually fierce opponents of Confucius.
He didn't just disagree, did he? He built something entirely new.
An entire system, a philosophical, economic, and political framework called Moya or Mohism, all built on this really radical idea of mutual human benefit.
So our sources really pull back the curtain on his life and his philosophy. And our mission for this deep dive is to figure out the scale of his challenge. How did a man from a family of craftsmen who lived this famously austere life manage to challenge the entire social order with a concept he called Jian'ai?
Universal love and mutual benefit.
You're right.
And what's so captivating about Mozi, right from the start, is that he just wasn't interested in abstract theory. He didn't care about noble family lines.
It was all about pragmatism.
The ultimate pragmatist.
Yeah.
Every single one of his ideas, his tenets, was aimed directly at solving the very real, very intense political chaos and economic suffering of his time, the Warring States period. He basically saw human suffering as an engineering problem.
An engineering problem.
Yeah, a problem that could be solved if rulers would just stop being so wasteful and start, quantifying the practical advantage of loving your neighbor.
Okay, let's unpack that. Let's start with the man himself, Mozi, which that just means teacher Mo, right? His real name was Tian.
That's right. He likely came from the state of Lu, which was, interestingly, a real center for culture and crafts. And the sources are very clear on this.
He wasn't from the aristocracy.
Not at all. His background was in the artisan class, craftsman. And he seems to have lived a remarkably long life for that era, maybe 80 years.
And this is key. He wasn't some uneducated outsider throwing stones. He was deeply educated in the very system he came to reject.
Oh, absolutely. He initially studied, and I'm quoting here, the business of the officials and the 6 arts of the Confucians. He knew the system inside and out.
Which must have made his eventual break with it all more powerful.
And that break was, well, it was dramatic. It was all centered on efficiency. He looked at Confucian teachings, especially their obsession with these elaborate, expensive rituals, and just found them completely bankrupt.
He specifically went after things like the 3-year mourning period.
Yes, and the lavish funerals, he called them pompous and unnecessary.
But it wasn't just a moral critique, was it?
No, it was an economic one. That's the core of it. He looked at that ritualism and said, this is destroying the wealth created by the productive people, the farmers, the artisans. It's leading them to ruin.
It's like a massive, pointless government program that just sucks capital out of the economy.
That's a great modern analogy. Imagine a philosopher today condemning some huge, wasteful project because it's draining resources that could be used for, infrastructure or healthcare. That was Mozi's argument.
So he rejected the principles of his own time, the Zhou dynasty that the Confucians loved, and he looked back, much further back, to the Xia dynasty.
Right. He idealized the principles of the Xia.
And what did that represent for him, practically?
The Xia dynasty was the era of Yu the Great, the legendary ruler who fought the Great Flood. So it represented pure practicality, engineering,
right,
labor.
Getting things done.
Exactly. He worked alongside the people, digging riverbeds, managing infrastructure, and crucially, when he died, he was buried modestly. No ceremony. It wasn't about status. It was about utility. And that became the Mosist ideal, especially economy and burials.
And Mozi didn't just preach this, he lived it. His personal commitment to asceticism was famous.
Renowned. He was always ready to help people, known for incredible self-sacrifice. Even his main rival, the Confucian Mencius, had to admit it.
Oh, that's a great quote.
Yeah. Mencius begrudgingly said that Mozi was such a champion of universal love that if it required him to rub himself into powder for the benefit of the world, he would do it.
Wow. To be rubbed into powder, it sounds utterly inhumane, actually.
Well, it raises the question, doesn't it? Was Mozi's philosophy so demanding that it required people to become like machines of pure utility? with no personal attachments, no natural preferences.
That's a really good point to hold on to. And we see that dedication in little historical details, like the note that the chimney in the house where Mozi stayed never blackened from smoke.
Think about that. No wasted fuel, no luxurious cooking, just total absolute austerity. And that personal commitment translates directly into his main argument,
Which is Jian'ai.
universal love and mutual benefit. But this wasn't some, airy-fairy wishful thinking. For him, it was a concrete mechanism for ethical government.
So let's break that down. What does universal love actually mean in a Mosist context? It's clearly not romantic love.
No, not at all. It's radical consequentialism.
Yeah.
Many people today see it as one of the world's first arguments for philosophical utilitarianism.
Okay.
Mozi's requirement was to look at others' domains as one's own, look at others' houses as one's own, look at others as oneself. The right action is always the one that maximizes the collective good. Mutual benefit.
But hold on, universal love sounds great, but demanding a ruler love an enemy state seems totally unrealistic, especially during the Warring States period when everyone was trying to conquer everyone else.
Right, so how did he ground it in pragmatism? He had a very strict chain of logic. He said that mutual hatred is the cause of all the big problems: poverty, war, theft. So when universal love is practiced, it automatically triggers mutual benefit. The strong won't oppress the weak, the rich won't bully the poor.
Because doing so hurts them in the long run.
Exactly. It reduces their own potential benefit. It's a calculated reciprocal self-interest. An ethical system built on the simplest economic reasoning. If I treat you well, you'll treat me well, and we'll both be better off.
And to structure this, the Mohists came up with their 10 tenets, which are collected in the Mozi treatise.
Right, and you see universal love and rejection of attacks, the anti-war stance right at the top. But then you get to the really strict efficiency rules.
Like honoring unity and honoring wisdom or talent. But then the 3 austerity rules.
Yes, economy and expenditures, economy and funerals, and the one that always shocks people: the rejection of music and entertainment.
The rejection of music is stunning. Why? Why make that a core tenet?
It was pure opportunity cost. They weren't, culturally tone deaf. They were just relentlessly focused on the economy.
So the time and resources.
Right. Mozi argued that the labor, the materials used to make fancy instruments, train performers, host big festivals, it was all a massive waste of resources.
Right.
That time and labor could have been used for essential production.
Farming, weaving, building houses.
Precisely. For Mozi, luxury wasn't just morally questionable, it was actively bad for the collective good.
And what about the metaphysical side? They had this weird balance. They promoted the wishes of heaven, so God rewards or punishes you, but they rejected the will of heaven.
Which is fatalism, or destiny.
That seems contradictory.
It does, but it makes sense if you look at it through the lens of utility. He rejected fatalism because if people think their destiny is already set, they stop trying.
They get lazy.
Exactly. Fatalism leads to inaction, which hurts productivity.
Yeah.
But he kept the wishes of heaven as a kind of moral standard. Gives everyone, rulers and common people, a higher authority to hold them accountable.
So it's pragmatism, but with a divine motivation to keep you on track.
You got it.
Okay, I get the efficiency part, but his political philosophy, honoring wisdom, that sounds like an outright revolution against the whole zoo hierarchy.
It was absolutely revolutionary. He was a champion of pure meritocracy. He argued that talented people must govern the country, period, regardless of their social origin.
That's a direct assault on the inherited power of the aristocracy.
A frontal assault. He's placing the skills of the artisan and the scholar above the claims of birthright.
And he even wrote a kind of instruction manual for how to manage these wise officials, right? His 3 conditions for successful rule.
Yes, and this shows he really understood how power works on the ground. First, if the wise aren't given a high rank, people won't respect them.
Okay, makes sense.
Second, if their salary's too small, people won't think the job is important.
And third,
If they aren't given subordinates to command, people won't fear them. It's a whole management theory to make sure meritocracy actually works in practice.
and this all ties back to his grand anti-war stance.
Absolutely. He condemned predatory wars. He saw them as the ultimate expression of waste and mutual hatred. Don't attack your neighbors, don't kill their people, don't steal their livestock, because the cost in labor, lives, resources always outweighs the short-term gain.
For Mozi, war was just a bad business decision.
The most irrational economic choice a state could possibly make.
But he didn't just write anti-war essays. He was an activist, a diplomat, and a seriously skilled engineer.
Highly skilled in defensive warfare, which is fascinating. And he put it all to the test in that famous confrontation in the Gongshu chapter.
Right, tell us that story. It's amazing.
It is fantastic. It shows his ethics were backed up by technical superiority. He traveled to the powerful state of Chu. The ruler there was about to attack the small state of Song,
Using these new advanced siege weapons?
developed by the legendary inventor Gong Huban. So Mozi shows up, and he doesn't appeal to morality first.
Great.
He challenges Gong Huban to a debate, which was basically a simulated war game.
And he won.
He crushed him. He neutralized every single one of the inventor's siege weapons in the simulation, proving to the ruler of Chu that attacking Song was technically pointless and would be a massive loss for them. He literally fought a war with engineering and logic.
You can't do that without being an incredible speaker.
A master orator. His style was simple, clear, and relentlessly logical, which was a huge contrast to the more, flowery, ambiguous language the Confucians often used.
I heard his debate technique was even compared to Socrates. What were his steps?
It was very methodical. First, a simple, clear thesis. Second, a step-by-step sequential argument. Third, he was brilliant at finding the internal contradictions in his opponent's position.
And the fourth step was the killer.
That was the knockout punch. He'd get his opponent to agree to some simple, seemingly harmless point, and then he'd use that point as a lever to completely dismantle their own original argument. It was logical warfare.
It sounds so powerful. And the Confucians, of course, they hated it. They said his simple style was only fit for the ignorant rabble.
But that directness is what resonated, and his followers created a very serious, tightly organized group and order, with what's always described as iron discipline.
It sounds less like a philosophy school and more like a paramilitary organization.
In some ways it was. They were structured to prioritize the collective interests above everything else. They held assets in common.
And if you were an official, you had to share your salary.
Yep, share a portion equally with your comrades. And if a ruler didn't take your advice, your instructions were to just leave, go find a state that was more efficient and would listen.
But that devotion,
Yeah.
it went beyond money. There's that shocking example of the leader, Zhu Mengsheng.
Oh, the story is, it's extreme.
Yeah.
He failed a task, and rather than dishonor the Mohist name, he committed suicide.
Oh, man.
180 members of the order followed him.
Wow.
It's a stark, absolute demonstration of that devotion. A literal willingness to be rubbed into powder for the benefit of the world, just like Nietzsche said. And that intensity is probably why they became so influential for a time.
Mengzi himself admitted it, right?
He did. He claimed the teachings of Yang Zhu and Modi filled the world. Mohism was a massive force during the Warring States period.
So Mozi's legacy is just. It's truly radical. He gave ancient China its first real argument for consequentialist ethics. He replaced the Confucian focus on hierarchy and ritual with pure pragmatism, efficiency.
And this demand for universal reciprocal love. He was the philosopher who insisted that your ethics had to be justified by a tangible, demonstrable benefit for everyone.
He fundamentally changed the debate. He championed the artisan, the common person, and demanded that government be based on merit, not who your father was.
He gave the world an ethical system built almost literally on the principles of engineering and resource management.
This deep dive really gives us a completely different view of what was possible in ancient China. But it does leave us with a pretty compelling final thought, especially when you think about what ultimately happened to Mohism.
Right. So the Mohists created this hugely popular, incredibly disciplined organization. It required its followers to sacrifice their personal interests entirely for the mutual benefit of the many. What is the destiny of this school? One that was so dominant, yet eventually just faded away. What does that tell you about the practical sustainability of demanding absolute self-sacrifice and universal love in a complex political society? It makes you wonder if an ethical system based entirely on collective utility can ever really overcome the enduring power of natural human attachments and, individual self-interest.
Join us and keep your curiosity well fed. Who knows? The next video might be exactly what you didn't know you needed.